Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Code. My name is Tim. This wonderful guy over here is Jamie, and today we are going to talk, should creators own the rights to the characters they create? So, Jamie, I think we might have some differing opinions on this, and we talked off camera before we even got started. And the original concept for this was for work for hire, but that just really didn't fit with everything that we wanted to talk about.
That was too vague of a subject.
Exactly. So we made it a little more
broad.
Yeah.
Broad or vague. One of the two. We're trimming it.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and start this one off. And the short answer is yes. But I think that's the most simplistic. So
thank you guys for showing up. This is a great episode of Breaking the Code. We will see you guys next week.
Have a good one, guys. So with creators and the characters they create, let's take Independence right now. So you take Image or like an old company, Malibu. Think about those for a second. Anything that the creators do, they own the rights to. Now it can be argued about colorists and inkers and things like that. And that's even been in the news with Kirkman and different things that have been done on titles that he controls. But with Independence, like with those companies specifically, and even other companies, the creators own the things that they create, the characters, the worlds, the stories, etc., etc. And I think that that's the way that it should be, right? If you come up with this concept, if you come up with this character, and obviously other people working with you to do that have an equal right in the creation of that character, those people or person should have complete and total control and ownership of said character. Now, if you go into the big two, that's
a hairy situation.
That's a little different. If you are hired in on a project by project basis, right, and you are not under contract, I don't think that there is any obligation to those larger two companies to give you any sort of creative control over anything you create for them while you are working for them on a project by project basis. With that being said, artists and writers and other creators that have earned enough of a position and enough clout to negotiate contracts absolutely should take advantage of having control and having ownership rights of characters and landscapes and storylines that they create in those larger companies. Because I mean, we even talked about this a little bit before, go all the way back to Superman, Siegel and Schuster. They had to go through court. They had to go to the Supreme Court to get ownership, to get recognition of ownership for those characters. And now in every DC title, from whenever the court proceedings were finished to current, it says Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster with special arrangement by the Schuster family, I believe. Right. And Bill Finger with Batman, his name was kept off of the creator list for Batman for the longest time. And I'm still not happy with the way it's worded. It says Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger. My personal opinion is I think it should be Batman created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, not with, but and. That's just a personal opinion on mine. But Jim Starlin, Stephen Grant, who we've had on a one shot, check that out, ladies and gentlemen.
Not Jim Starlin, but Stephen Grant.
Yeah, Stephen Grant. And other creators that have worked for the big two that got either weaseled out of, pushed out of, or outright ignored for creation of characters that they've done. I mean, the practices back in the 70s were really shady, even to the 80s and the 90s, before creators started to get wise and make their own companies. Yes, they need ownership of their characters. They do. But with the things that were done before, were they right? No. are the companies bad for doing it? Yes. Is there things that can be done now? Absolutely. But it's going to be very, very, very difficult to do.
Okay. I mean, I like that opinion. On the flip side, though,
Go for it.
You just stated that basically it's wrong for the big two to do, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The practices from before.
I mean, you can
And
even establish
even what they do now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here's my thought process on it. If you're coming up in, let's say, Marvel, for instance,
Mhm.
you should know as a creator what you're getting yourself into going into it.
Mhm.
Now, if you can listen to many people talk, different creators from all mediums and all years combined. The one thing they have in common is they wish they would have read the contract at first.
Very true.
You should go in there with the thought process of, hey, if I create a character, maybe this character I'm not getting anything out of. My name might be on it. As, you know, I'm the one that wrote them, came up with the character design, whatever the case may be. But if you don't read the contract of what you're stated in, even if it's for, you're only going to do 12 issues and then we're going to see if we're going to keep you around.
Right.
If you're in that wheelhouse, why are you not reading it?
Okay.
Okay. Now you look at, I can understand someone that's more established in the company. Let's just take a Jim Starlin, for instance, when, what was it? I always think Infinity War came out and he first got to see Thanos as this character that he created.
Yeah.
He went on record and literally said that the books that were coming out for Thanos at the time that he created, that he wrote, because there was a big hardcover he did. I forgot what the name of it was, but it was like a through the years thing, but he drew everything and he wrote everything in there. It was a new book, but it was through the years. He couldn't even, it wouldn't even
like Infinity Entity and stuff like that.
No, this is something totally different.
Okay.
It's like Thanos, this is your life.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you look at it from that term, they wouldn't even send him the book. He had to pay for it outright, you know? But that's the thing. He was how can I put it? If anyone's a wrestling fan, when you jump ship, you have a bad stain on a company.
Very true.
And he was like the Ric Flair of the time. He was in DC. He was in Image. He was in Marvel. He was in all these different areas when at that time it wasn't predominant for one. There was loyalty aspects to it. Let's put it that way.
Very much so.
And again, you can get tarnished based on that reputation. And that's how I feel that happened. He even said it himself. He goes, I feel like they just don't care. Like, he's like, I cried when I first saw Thanos on screen, but it hurts more inside because of the fact that my book's out and I can't even get a copy, you know. But going down to people that are getting into the industry saying like, I'm going to create the next, I don't know,
Wolverine,
the next Wolverine, or I'm going to create the next Cyclops and not make them, expletive. You go into that route and you have to know that character, no matter if they're going to boom or fall flat on their face, you're not going to have the control unless it's written in ink. Well, or typed, one of the two. So in my idea is they should have created, they should get the creative for it, no matter what. But if you don't go out and actually do the research, if you're not looking at what you're signing, that's your own fault.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Now, with Bendis, you've educated me on this. He has a clause in his contract for, was it Naomi in DC? Is that right? Yeah.
Yes. He has the same thing with
Ironheart,
Miles Morales and Ironheart.
Exactly. So anything that's done with him, is it that he has ownership, or
he gets a percentage of sales, whether it's an action figure, they show up in a panel, or their head pops in. Like, he's still getting something out of it.
Right. Exactly. And who else?
Ironheart was his last nail in the coffin, because right after he did Ironheart, he jumped ship to DC.
That's when he signed exclusivity with DC. Now, Isn't Tom Taylor, doesn't he have some kind of clause in his contract for that too? Or there's somebody else over at DC that does. Was it Tinian or was it King?
Tinian.
Tinian.
Because
right.
Tinian created a bunch of characters for
Yeah.
Batman on his. He still had a good run, but
Mm.
like Mayor Kamali came out with
Mhm.
Ghostmaker.
Yeah.
All these characters, like Ghostmaker's technically replacing Alfred at this point. Mayor Kamali wasn't really the biggest of draws, but is still predominant in some books. So even if she shows up in one, like she had in Batman Urban Legends, the last issue, he's still getting a percentage out of that.
Yeah. And that's in contract. That's sticking around.
No matter what.
But let's talk about Brubaker now.
Yes.
That you know more about than I do. So why don't you take that away?
Well, with the whole Winter Soldier aspect, we had it on the podcast. I forget which episode. I think it was episode 8. If I'm not mistaken.
And we have
No, you were on it. You were on it because it was the Hush Money.
That is a recent one within the 30s.
Yeah, late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I can't remember right offhand.
But they gave him basically $5,000 to be like, hey, this is what we're paying you flat out for this character. He took the money because that's what he had, and then Captain America Winter Soldier came out and he blew up.
And he's not the only creator they've done that to either.
Yes, there's been many others that they have done it. A lot of them are coming forth more out of the woodwork now because of Brubaker and his stance. Brubaker totally left. He's like, I don't want to do anything to do with you big two no more. I'm going to independence. I'm writing my own stuff. He goes, I'm not going to take this no more. But at the same time, it's like I said on that episode, you knew what you were getting yourself into. Now, as me, you can have that feeling in your heart, like, this is my character. This is my way of doing it.
Right.
Like, why? Why am I in this? Because you didn't look into anything. You didn't do your research. And that falls on you. It doesn't fall on Marvel as a big corporation. Doesn't fall on DC as their own corporation. That falls on the individual at hand. Now, if he was not saying this,
well, real quick on that aspect though, Bucky Barnes was already an established character. So what Brubaker
Winter Soldier wasn't.
Exactly, but what he did with Bucky was took that established,
repackaged them.
Exactly. Yep.
So, but that's still a creation.
You
know what I mean? And they basically said they gave me $5,000, and at that time, when they probably gave it to him, he's probably like ka-ching, and went on by his life. But then once you see what everything is and your name's on it, I can see how you feel tarnished about it. But at the same time, you got to look at yourself too and be like, well, I did sign that contract. I couldn't restructure it, and I can't do it now because it's already out. You can have that hatred, like not hatred, but you can have that
animosity
or feeling of defeat in your heart, which is fine because there's something you put your heart and soul into is on screen. You're not getting any recognition besides your name being in a title. Right. But do I feel that they should basically overall, do I feel like they should own their own rights? Yes. But on the flip side of that, like I said, if you're looking at it and you're not doing the research and you're not going into it as a creator, that falls on you.
Well, real quick, how do you feel about the Independents?
Independence is amazing.
Yeah. Do you think that aspect is the same? Like, pay attention to your contract, or like with what Kirkman did with the colorist for The Walking Dead? Was it the colorist on Invincible?
It was Invincible.
Right. Okay.
And with that, there's an issue that I kind of have with that, because even going into that, if you can go on Image right now and you could basically look up how to put in a publication for your own work.
Yeah, absolutely.
They state even in that you have to come up with a percentage for each person on your team. Now, whatever that percentage is has to be agreed upon through all filters of it. So from writer to artist to colorist to letter to cover
editor
design. All that has to be filtered through, and all of them have to agree. The problem is, though, what I found with that is that if you agree to it, why are we having this discussion?
Because it made more money than they agreed to.
No, it made more money in the marketing scheme of things, but his percentage stayed the same.
Okay. Fair enough.
So no matter what he would have done, he's still say he was making 20%,
Yeah.
20%. He's gonna make 20% of all continuity with that character.
Yep.
Within comics, within everything else. Now, if you're a Kirkman, for instance, and you say you get 50 because you established this world, you already made those terms.
Yeah.
And with that series, there was no renegotiating. I can talk today, I swear. Renegotiating. It's Pepsi. We already established that. But no, there's no renegotiating on those terms, whether it's a 6-issue series or a 150 issue.
Very true.
So whatever you're at, you can say that, oh, he owes me money because I did all the coloring for it. Now, if he said, hey, we're going to renegotiate on issue 20 because they're making it ongoing.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have a difference. Then I'd be like, yes, that you have a valid point there, sir. Well played. On the other side of that, like I said, if you're going into something and you don't know what you're going into because you didn't do the research, that's on you.
Well,
like that's like me going into a job, basically they'll be like, okay, we're going to give you $60,000 a year. Okay, cool. I'll sign here. Don't read anything. The only way you're going to make $60,000 is commission. Your actually base pay is 20. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Absolutely.
Whose fault is that to be angry?
That would be yours.
Exactly. Because I didn't read the fine print, and it goes directly into this as well.
Yeah. Right on. So I think that some solid arguments were made on both sides here with this topic of conversation. And I think it's safe.
Back to what I was trying to elaborate though, real fast. I do agree with creators having ownership. I just think if you're going to look at the past, you got to look at what happened and learn from it and move forward.
Absolutely. And I think we can both agree on that. All right. So before we get out of here with this episode of Breaking the Code, Jamie, you got anything to say to our wonderful audience that is watching right now?
Yes, guys. And as always, be kind to one another. You never know what anyone's going through. Even a smile can change someone's aspect of the day. So always be kind. Guys, as always, too, we got a lot of content for you guys going out. You guys go check out TikTok. We're going to have a lot more going on there. Think we're going to be doing a Comics 101 type style thing here soon. So that's something to look out for. As always, we have a plethora of every day of the week for YouTube, something coming out at some point. So guys, if you can too, follow us right here on Twitch or hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and let's let this community grow because it's getting better and better each and every week. And it takes you guys to do that. So thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. If you're not following us here on Twitch, please do so. We need you more than ever. If you're not following us on YouTube, if you're watching there right now, hit that subscribe button. We would definitely love to have you as part of the community. Guys, you can find us on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, right here on Twitch, over on YouTube, on TikTok, and our shiny Discord. All you got to do is type in the Codex Station, and that is where you will find us. We are also on all podcast streaming platforms. If you like to listen instead of watch, again, type in the Codex Station, and there we are. Once again, my name is Tim. This wonderful guy over here is Jamie. This is Breaking the Code. We are the Codex Station, and we will see you next time.
See you guys in the next one.